Did you play it?
No.
I've only thought. These come out so consistently.
Whenever we have some extra time.
We have not had extra time. As if you look at the date of the previous release, it was a long time ago. So, but we're back, and
We're back. It's a real channel.
Yeah, we do board game stuff. We promise. We've got a fun one today. This is what is this? Mountain Goats?
Mountain Goats, and it's kind of a game that you might play with your family. I've actually played this probably more run-throughs. I mean, since January 1, more run-throughs than any other game.
Yeah, I've
right?
played this more than any game on our shelf.
Yeah.
It's come to the table a ton. First of all, we just want to explain what's the mechanics. So what is the basic? What am I doing? Why do I have a bunch of goats at the? Just what's going on?
The whole herd of goats down there. So
That is a
basically,
herd.
on my turn, I roll and I look at the dice I have. I have a 6 and a 5 and a 3 and 3. So I might put those two together, and I've got an 8 and a 9. So I'm going to be yellow today, and my 9 moves up 1, and my yellow goat moves up the 8, and I'm trying to get to the top of the hill. And
Yes, that's the entirety of your turn. You just roll the dice.
Yep.
You combine them in any form that you want. So you can add 3s with 4s, whatever you roll. You're just going to add it up to whatever number is out here, and then you're going to move your goat on the corresponding number. And right, like you said, get to the top of the mountain. When you get there, you take points, and you get the most of these, and well, you win. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, and so when the next guy goes and say, Bodie, what color are you going to be today?
Red, sure.
Okay, so he's red, and I'm going to be here, and he's red and there, and let's say he's up here. So on my turn this time, when I go, I'm looking at this, and I'm like, okay, I'm wanting to knock him off of that. Okay, so I have a 10 here, and so that's going to allow me to knock him off. So when I knock him off, back to the end he goes. I get the little
Rough.
coin. Yep, and I'm winning, I think.
Yeah, you can share spaces anywhere other than this top row. Then you're just knocking goats off the top. It's a really good theme. I mean, to be honest, it hits the theme
Yeah.
pretty fantastic.
Kind of that King of the Hill kind of look right there. Is it like anything you've played?
To be honest, there's not very many games that I've played that are similar to this. It's kind of outside my usual realm. I really like big box games. I like games that take 2-3 hours. I'm really into something with a good story, or something fantasy, or something with big complex choices. That's what I gravitate towards. So when we sat down to play this, you know, I wasn't excited about it. It wasn't like, oh, look, it's a mountain with goats on it. I want to climb the mountain. But you get into it. It really did. It works for me.
Yeah, for me, this is almost like going back to my childhood when my grandma would pull out an old sugar cube and make the dice. You know, with her pencil, she would make a 6-sided dice, and we would play a game of cootie. You know, and you're rolling that one die, and you get a leg or an arm or whatever. This game has the simplicity of sit down and explain it, and then away you go.
Yeah, there's actually one mechanic we forgot to mention that to me is what ties the whole game together. That's if you get one of each number, you're going to get one of these bonus tiles, and really that's how you win the game. If you can manage to collect bonus tiles, that's really where some of the victory. You can win without them. I think we just played recently and nobody got one.
No, I got one and I
did,
lost.
and you still lost.
And I still lost. So, but that doesn't happen often.
So you can lose after getting some of those bonus tiles, but it does create a little bit of a goal to go after, other than just I'm going to sit at the top of this mountain
and a set
collect
means
only 8s.
I think we said that, right? Though a set is one
10,
of
9,
each.
8, 7,
Yeah,
6,
you got to
5.
get all of them together. So your goats are trying to climb mountains everywhere.
And this to me is, so if I want to get into my first and probably my primary pro to the whole thing, actually, you get to this spot in the video, this is the number one thing, the reason you should get this game, and then you can just click away. It's totally fine.
I've got more. I got more.
He does have more. No, but my favorite thing about this game is the complexity of decisions. They're not really complex. I guess that's the wrong word. It's the enjoyment of the decisions. There's just a surprising amount of choices you're going to make because you're rolling 4 dice and they have all these different combinations and you have all this freedom to combine those in any way you want. And sometimes there's dice that are rolled low, like a 2 or a 3, and you're not even going to use that because you're going after, I need that 9 to finish out my set, so I'm ditching some of my dice. That captures the essence of a good board game, right? I've got to make some sort of difficult decision that has a pro and a con to it. And this game accomplishes that in a 10-minute game. It's really good.
And maybe what I like about it is that in the first 2 or 3 rounds, you almost can't make a bad decision. They're like really easy. So you can tell somebody, just roll it, just roll, and then we'll help you decide what to do. At the very beginning, you're just kind of moving up the mountain, and there's no way to really mess it up. It's really in the middle game, and especially at the end, where you're like, oh, I need that set, but no, I can get a little more points over here, or all the points have been taken away from here, and I don't need to be...
Yeah, and I hadn't thought about that because there is a natural ramping up of the kind of the intensity of such a simple game, such a light, kind of deceptively fun game. It just gets slowly, like they're kind of cranking up the intensity as every decision you make becomes just a little bit more important. How am I going to use each one of my dice? And I like that I can mitigate that the dice don't control how. Sometimes they do. Don't get me wrong. It's still dice. Dice are dice.
Yeah, and a low rolling roll is bad, and a high roll is normally good.
But you can really make something happen out of almost any roll you do, and there's so many different directions you can go and different ways to get points that it really does make for a well-paced game.
I like games where you don't know who's like it's not obvious who's winning. So we play that you have to you put your coins right here and they're kind of in front of you, but you don't know. So you know the guy's doing fairly well, and it's easy to be, oh man, Bodie's doing really well. Everybody keep knocking him off the mountain. But if you do that, somebody else is kind of doing pretty well, but you're not really sure how. And at the end, you don't know who's got that game. Like, I don't know if we've played a game.
Yeah, you almost never know. You always think you know, and sometimes you're close to right, but
you feel good about yourself, but then...
And that's another, I mean, it's great because you're playing the game and you feel like you're doing well, and I really appreciate that. The one con that I'll bring on, the first of my cons that I'll bring up is I don't think it plays amazing at 2 players.
No.
It's okay, but it's not... If you're gonna play this game, get 4.
Yeah.
Get 4 people. You can play it at 3.
Three can play okay, but yeah, 4 is fun. And I mean the expansion. They have an expansion for it, which is just another set of goats and whatever. But you could set up your own set of 5 goats.
And that's just it's fun. The meeples are great, but you don't need them. But honestly, they are
pretty cool.
They're part of the pros list. I mean, these are just fantastic little guys.
Yeah,
all wood. It's great for the size of box that you're getting. You get a good production.
So another pro for me is it has a light self-leveling aspect, a light take that kind of aspect to it, and a lot of that has to do with a player that runs to the top, of the mountain, and you're kind of lurking behind, saying, okay, as soon as he hits the top, boom, I'm going to knock him off as quickly as I possibly can, and I like that where a couple players can be like, man, he just cleaned up. He just took like 3 10s. We've got to knock him off of that, and we've got to knock him off a couple other places. And it's not like you're playing 2 versus 1 or 3 versus 1, but it does have a little bit of that feel. And actually, for me, that's the way I lost the last game. 2 or 3 of us ganged up on one guy, and we were like, man, he's doing well. And at the end, it was one of those other people who were just kind of lurking behind. So the little lurking game right there.
And that's really why you have to have more than 2, because if you play this with just 2, you'll fill up.
It's really
mountains.
just the dice.
Yeah,
at that point.
There's not much that. There's so many ways that when there's an extra player in there that's just really messing with you, throwing you off. You can't plan for everything.
You just want to be the last to the top. So if there's nobody behind you, you might wait. You might even have a good score, but you'll let somebody else take the lead, because if you take him out, then you're the last to the top and nobody else is down there. You're going to be up there for a while. So there are a couple of things that are strategy that are deeper than might... It's like, well, I'm going for second place. I want to lurk behind here just a little bit, and then I'll get on top. Or maybe there's a number that nobody's messing with. 7 and 8 have a tendency, nobody plays them very much.
Well, yeah, because you got to get to the 10s as quick as possible, and it takes so much work to get to 5 and 6. 9 still feels like a high score. 7 and 8 are an odd bunch, but you need them. And that's why the extra bonus, if you get a full set of all the numbers.
And you've gotten like 2 sets, right?
Before, you can get as many sets as you manage to get doubles of. So it really does work, and like he said, the simplicity of it, don't get deceived by just, oh, this is too simple. No, there's actually, you can play this with little kids and you can still have fun.
Yeah.
And that really makes it a really strong game for me, where I'm like, I want to include little kids or my kids or somebody else but I still want to enjoy the game that I'm playing, and this does that for you.
Yeah, the pro for me here is that it is like a family game, and it's so fast basically as fast as I can get all these cards. Because again, it's in this little dinky box, so it's a dinky thing, but it plays big on the table. You're moving things all around. As fast as you can set it up, you're basically ready to play.
Yeah, and also the setup does look good. You're still filling a table. Actually, when people walk by this game, they're interested. They want to join you. They want to know what's going on.
And actually, small add to the pros, when a person walks up on this game and they watch it for a minute or two, they actually understand.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, I'll play. I'll jump in. That was fun.
So let's hit our cons before we make this a really long video. For me, there's not a whole lot of bad things about the game that I can say other than it is a simple game. So even though we've talked about that there are fun decisions, complexity to it, it still is very simple. And I think it could handle some expansions. And I know there is the one, but I think the one is just extra goats.
Yeah.
I would love to see some sort of variation or added thing, or there's such a core mechanic that works that you almost can't break it too much if you just added some sort of interesting extra piece of complexity.
Yeah, for me, I have similar con where a person would say there's just not enough game here, but I like the balance. Again, I'm going to play some of these, or there's some people that are never going to play Scythe with me, but they'll get out here and play Mountain Goats and have a good time with it. So I know that there's a level where it's just not as much game, but there's enough game that a game player, I think, can enjoy it.
And for the cost,
yeah, $15.
yeah, $15. I'm happy with you. The amount of gameplay that the amount of times I played this and had fun playing. It probably has. I've had more fun playing this than some of my couple-hour games that I really like. That's because I haven't played them as much as I played this one. If you already have a game like this in your collection that really fills kind of your family game, anybody can play 15 minutes, you may not be interested in this one. But if you are looking for a couple extras, because I think those 15-minute games are so helpful for brain breaks, for family, this one hits almost the number one spot for me. As far as a just quick game, anybody can play and have fun.
Yeah, it's not like a game that hits your top 10, but it's a game you play as much as anything on your top 10.
Yeah, yep. That's one of the best ways to describe it.
Yeah.
So buy, borrow, bust. I think it's obvious, which it usually will be by the end of these. It's a buy.
Yeah.
It's a buy a couple copies and give them to friends. It's a Christmas gift. It's a birthday gift. This game at $15 is, I don't know why you haven't bought it yet.
For the guy who's for the guy who's not really not sure if they like games or they're kind of new into it, this is like a really good buy. Small kids, a buy.
Now, if your game group never plays this and they're only big box game guys or long games, or if you have a specific type of game, this won't fill.
Yeah, there's a place for this. I think even with the big box guys, and this is just my opinion, but some of the big box guys just need to relax and play a fun one.
Try a relaxing one.
Play a fun one. So on Buy, Borrow, or Bust, we won't get to it, but they've actually got three games that are similar in this. So they have the expansion for all three of them. Let me talk about that in a moment. Sequoia has similar mechanics, right?
Yeah, it is very similar to this, not as strong. So if you're gonna go with one, I would pass on Sequoia. That one's a bust for me.
Yeah.
Mountain Goats is a buy. If you were loved Mountain Goats, want something like this with a little twist, go get Sequoia. It's a decent pickup.
And this one for me is still a buy because I like everybody being able to roll their dice and figuring out what they want. They have a third one though, and I think both of us are on the same one on this. This is their GPS, and this is a bust for both of us.
Did you play it?
No.
I've only talked about it. I played it one time with my wife and my mother-in-law, and it was terrible.
I guess I should play it before I say so. But,
no, it's not even worth it.
So why not? What?
It doesn't work. The mechanic, the idea is good on paper. I think if it was put together with different production, it may have worked, but because of the components and how you have to spin, and it's all about spinning this thing, and wherever it lines up, you're trying to put your spaceships in a certain order. It's a cool idea, but the spinner never works, and the thing's bumping, and you've got all these spaceships, and they all get messed up, and you can't tell where what is. I wish it worked. I really do. It has a fun play idea, mechanic. It just doesn't work.
So my game addict friend, who has all of the games, bought the expansion to Mountain Goat, Sequoia, and GPS. He took out Mountain. But anyway, he had all three. He took out the expansion for Mountain Goats, gave me the rest. I took out the expansion for Sequoia, and GPS is still sitting there. But for Mountain Goats, this company does a great job of putting together a great product, and I really like it. It's a buy.
Go buy it.